Good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer Smith, and I will be taking you on this short course to learn how to use conditional formatting in your everyday Excel data analysis as well as in the dashboard development. So to kick this off, I would like to start by defining conditional formatting as a feature on many spreadsheets applications that allow you to apply special formattings to cells that meet a certain criteria. It is most often used to highlight, emphasize, or differentiate among data and information stored in a spreadsheet. So I got this definition from smartsheet.com. And I'd first like to say that conditional formatting differs from formatting in the sense that, like in the definition, that the value in the cell has to meet the condition that you put for it to be emphasized or highlighted. Whereas in formatting, you would have to change the way a particular content or value is in a cell. That could include several different things. If you like to change the way the number appears, if whether you want to make it a currency or a date or percentage, if you like to change the alignment, whether you want your text to appear vertically or horizontally, your font, whether it's bold, italics, or red, white, or blue, whether you want to include borders in your cell, if you want to fill the cell color manually, or if you like to put some kind of certain conditions when you want to protect your cell. All these are just the plain formattings. So whereas in conditional formatting, you have to have a condition or a criteria which this value of the cell needs to meet before it um, adopts the formatting that you have put on it. So I'd like to start the exercises and show you different kinds of conditional formattings. So to do the conditional formatting, this is the place. Normally it's on your home tab. You see the conditional formatting option. So when you click on it, you'd first of all see different options that Excel gives you as conditional formatting. These are preset formatting formats which you can use, but I prefer to develop my own from scratch because it gives me more control over what I would like to see. So here let's just to discuss briefly over the default settings, like the already ones that have on Excel. You have the highlight cell rules where you can either be highlight whether the value in the cell is greater than, less than, equal to, in between, or whatever. Top and bottom rank rules. You have data rules, which depending on the value of the cell, if you look carefully, you can see how the colors are different lengths. So depending on the value of the cell, the color fills the cell. You can also use color scale depending on the value of the scale of the cell, and also the colors you set. You can have maybe if you have two color shade, you can have red can be low, green can be high, and it would gradient. It is spread itself through all the values. The colors will spread itself through all the values in your spreadsheet. Also, you have icons which show these different kind of icons. They can use conditional formatting to set on your data. And yes, that's basically the preset ones that are available. So now going into conditional formatting, how to actually use it. You can first of all start by clicking on new rule. Now, new rule shows you all the different kinds of rules you can have in conditional formatting. You can format cells based on their cell value, based on what the cell contains. We can do top or bottom ranked values, above average, below average, whether it contains a unique cell or unique value or duplicate. And you could also use a formula to tell Excel to find look at a particular content in a particular part of your spreadsheet, and based on it, highlight a do a format for another cell in a different place altogether. So we're going to go through all these methods, these three six different rules, and I'll use the table which I have here behind to show you the examples. So on this table I have on the screen, I have names of students and then the scores in different subjects: physics, math, chemistry, English. I have the average assessment, which I you found by finding the average of all these scores. And also I have the inference that it lets me know whether the student performed poorly or average or good. And this I had done by using a nested if function. So um first of all, I would like to use the first rule on the rule manager menu. So like how I like to do my how when I work with conditional formatting, I don't like to use this new rule because if you put in several different conditions or several different rules, it's a bit tedious each time you want to use it because you have to keep on clicking on a new rule. So let me show you an example. So let's say we want to do the first kind of rule. Sorry, first of all, before we start, I need to select where you want to apply your conditional formatting. So I'm going to select everything in this column C. Then I'll select new rule. Now, in this particular first rule, format all cells based on their value. You're not given a specific um, color to a particular number. What this rule allows the analysis to do it. It looks at the lowest and highest values and gives a color according to where each number falls within that scale. So you can have set your conditions to be such that whether it is the lowest value or lowest number, lowest percentage or formula, depending on what you have on your table, and also set the highest value. So once you're done with that, you need to select a color for both of them. At your lowest, I assume your lowest should be bad, so you want it to be red. And then the highest should be good, that means it's green. So it's going to show this kind of gradient color from changing from red to green depending on what on the first of all the lowest number and the highest number and where the number falls in between these two. So once I click on OK, you'll notice that all the colors here are highlighted. So in this table, your highest number is 100, while your lowest number I think is 30. So 30 will be red, while 100 will be green. However, if I have a number higher than 100, you notice that this 100 will change from green to a different color. So if I put 200, for example, here, the 100 changes to a reddish color. So this happens because the highest number is no longer 100, it's now 200. So that changes the way things are. So let me just undo that and go back to what it was before. So this type of conditional formatting can be used. Like one example that comes to mind right now is when you want to do exam marking and you are trying to let's say an entrance exam, you're trying to sieve out a lot of participants and you only want to have the top performing students. And let's say everyone who did the exam got above 90% to 100. So what this does, it helps you to see who the higher number is, let's say between 90 and 100. Let's say someone scored 90. If someone scored 90, then 90, even though 90 is a good score, will be our red because 100 is the highest value, which is our green. And all the scores in between there will just range between, the colors will range between the 90 and 100. So that's where I feel we can use this type of conditional formatting. So if you want to clear the cells, okay, let me leave this first conditional formatting. Let it be for this one. So okay. So now we want to start the second one, that is formatting a cell based on the content. So first I'll highlight the cells which I'm going to apply the rules, which is in column D. Then I click on conditional formatting. So like I mentioned initially, I prefer using manage rules because in this case I'm going to apply several different conditions to my data, and it will be quite tedious if I'm required to go back each time to this menu bar to select new rule. It's easier for me to use manage rule, that is the rule manager, which has where I can see all the different rules which I've applied to this particular selection, and also do manipulations and make correct it where there are mistakes and all. So first I'm going to select new rule. And this brings us back to the first box that we saw initially when we started the conditional formatting. Then I'm going to click the second option, which is format only cells that contain. Now this particular rule is looking at the content of the cell, which could either be a value, could be a text, could be a date, blanks, no blanks, errors or no errors. And you can give different formats based on the condition. So I'm going to use my legend here on the side to color out everything which I feel is poor. And according to the legend, I have selected poor to be between 0 and 44. So there are two ways for me to do this. Um, First of all, I can actually use the between option, that to use between 0 and 44. This is good, especially if you want to weed out data which may be wrong. For example, if someone entering this data writes a negative number, it's impossible for someone who has scored over an exam should score a negative number. So if you're using this condition, like using between, the negative number will not be highlighted. I can also achieve this by, you know, using the less than option, where I'll tell Excel to highlight everything less than 44 to be red and poor. But in this condition, if I have negative 10 is less than 44 and it will still be highlighted if I use this kind of conditional formatting. So to be safe, I prefer to use between for this condition right now, so that I'll be precise and I know what I mean, and Excel doesn't over assume and give me wrong data. So my between, in the first cell here, you need to put your lower value, the lowest value, which is 0. And then here, and after the and, you put the upper limit, which is 44. Then I click on format for it to show me this dialog box. So initially, if you do click on format, normally you'd see it at numbers, but because I have been working on Excel, it has shifted to fill. So if you do look carefully at this box, you remember that you saw it initially when I spoke about formatting. This is the same dialog box, except it doesn't have the protection option. So yeah, you can also do different formattings, format the text, format the borders on the cell, or you can just fill it. So in this example, we're actually just going to fill the cell. So I'll click on the color which I have put in my legend as red. Once you're done with that, you come back to our preview box. That's the rule dialog box. We can see the preview of what the color is here. The ones we're happy with what we've selected, click on OK. And it brings us back to our rule manager. From the rule manager, we can choose to look at what our data looks like. So simply, if you look at it here, you see select cells between cell value between 0 and, we're not seeing the whole thing, but below my mouse you can see 0 and 44. That is the row we had selected, and this is the color format, and this applies to everything in cell in column D, from D2 to D44. Once you click on apply, everything that is less than or between 0 and 44 show up is highlighted. However, this blank here is not supposed to be part of it because it's a blank, and we have the option to give the blanks a particular kind of formatting. Let's do one more cell content. I can let me do blank. So maybe in your free time you can actually try out the other two options. So let me select cells that have blank. Okay. Now possibly the student did not do the exam, or maybe the scores were missed. So we need to be clear on the data. We wouldn't want to have red here. If you have it red like this, it could, if you're presenting this to your supervisor or a group of people, it will misrepresent your data. So you want to be clear about what you want. So we can, first of all, to ensure that you have the correct formatting for blanks, you can check on format. Here, no color is highlighted, so I'm happy with that. So I go back to this dialog box. Once I'm done here, I click on OK. Then I can apply it to my formula and see it has changed to blank. Another thing about Excel is that it also has priorities. It looks at the topmost row, like priority set for the first row, then to before the last row. So Excel gives more priority to the first row than the last row. So anything you want to Excel to show you or to follow immediately, you need to ensure you bring it to the top. So to do that, you can use these arrows here and to move it. So you can also use the conditional formatting for text. So, for example, if you want to switch from here to this place and you don't want to leave this room manager, because at this point I can't do anything in this outer spreadsheet, I have to continue working in here. I can choose to say okay and select the next row that I want to do conditional formatting to. That's this one. Or if I am still in my room manager, um okay, so in this case I'm not seeing any of the formulas I had put before, because it's showing the correct selection, which is this particular cell, and it has no rules here. If I want to see all the rules that I had put on this worksheet, all I need to do is this place that says show formatting rules for, I click on this worksheet. Then everything, all the rules I had put initially show up. So now I want to use number 2 again for this particular cell, column H. So click on the new rule, select cell format only. In this case, I'm selecting a text, specific text. So in specific text, I looking for words, not numbers. And I can choose to either type my number in here or select it from the already legend, for example. So in this case, so in the previous example, I had typed in the numbers that I wanted to do conditional formatting. In this case, I want to select, so I can just first of all click in this box here, then select my text. So it's looking at everything in this cell, cell J2, and whatever is inside here, the conditions will be, I can give the format for the condition. So I'm going to select it and I'll color it green. So once I'm done with that, I can choose to change where it applies to, because if you look closely at this, it applies to dialog box. We're seeing it applies to what is inside column I. But I said I want to apply it to this column H because there's no text in column I. So all I need to do is delete this and then select what is here. Once I'm done with that, I click on apply, and everywhere that is shows good is highlighted. Okay, so let me look at all the rules I have on my worksheet. So I have 4 rules so far. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, So now let's move on. So I'd like to do number three in this chemistry column. So I'll click on new role and I'll select format only top or bottom ranked. So it's either I can select whether it's top 10 or top bottom, sorry, top 10 or bottom 10 students that has scored in chemistry. And in that as well, I need to choose the format I want. Let's choose like a different color. Let's choose this one. So I would like to have it for my top 10, which I could even change it to top 5 if I want to. If I don't want to be top 10, let's say I don't have many students to perform this on, I'll say, okay, I want to do top 3 to know who scored first, second, and third. Then, once I'm done with that, I select OK. I also need to change where it applies to, all right, so that it applies to the correct place. And select apply. So let me click on OK so we can look at our spreadsheet now. So we're seeing top 3. It's highlighted 4 names because these people, these 3, had the same score. So it's going to select everything that is the top 3. Unfortunately, there are 3 numbers that appear the same. So well, if there were different numbers, they won't be highlighted. So I can quickly just change this to 19, and this one should be 89. So now we're seeing top 3 as our top 3 performers in chemistry. Okay, so now I would like to do um above or below average. Sorry, this is average. So above or below average is the same as top 10 or the front one I showed you initially. So above or below average. So you can change it to above average, below average, or you can see first time standard deviation above or below. You can also have those ones. So let me just select above average and I'll give it a color. So above average, I can select purple. So can apply. So in this case, Excel has done an average of what is in this column and has highlighted everything that's above average for us to see. We can also do the same thing using find duplicated values. For example, in this, I know I have 20 students, but unfortunately, I'm seeing 21 names. um Assuming we had a larger number set, because I can just look at my table right now and find that okay, Jennifer Windsor is repeated twice. But assuming you have a table that has 1,000 names, you can't really spot it out easily as we're looking at it. So Excel helps you in this way to spot out which one is duplicated. So maybe there's an error in transcription of data, that's why it was entered twice. So select new row, or on from the manager, row manager, and then click on duplicate cells. So I'm looking for duplicate cells here. I'll format my row and I'll give it a color. So I click on apply. Like I mentioned before, I highlight Jennifer Winter, who was written 2 times. So possibly there was a mistake in transcriptions. That's why the name appeared 2 times. So let me just quickly do this correction. All right. So now, since I have changed it, the other note Jennifer has gone off because it was no longer repeated. That's why it turned off. So finally, we're coming to the last option. This one is pretty interesting and it's really nice because I can have a particular value I'm looking at here. Now I'll tell Excel to highlight something that is here. So for example, if I have like my best performing students. I like to reward them, and I want to know how many of them to reward. Like the name should be highlighted. Like in this example, anyone that had good should receive a gift. I can quickly look at it and see this number of children or students are going to receive gifts. But working with data, you may not have a small data set to work with. You may have a large one. So to cut down on time for you to for sieving through, you can just simply use a formula to look in here, find where you find the word good, and highlight the name of the person that has that corresponding good. So first of all, to start this off, I need to click on my first cell where I would want Excel to look into. So I click on manage roles and then click on new role. So we want to use the last option, use a formula to determine which cells to format. And in this case, I'm going to put a formula here. And it's a simple formula I'm going to use. So I say equals to this cell. Check if this cell is equals to this word good. And where is true, your condition, your format is indicated, and where it is false, it is not indicated. So um sorry, before I continue, let me um emphasize something. Since I clicked on this cell, you see the dollar sign has been put here. If you remember in your absolute referencing, what this means is that no matter what I do with my formula, it only make reference to that cell H2. So I need to remove the dollar sign. So it's just a plain H2 like this. Then I say equals to this. So, but in this case, I can accept it to be only on to the dollar sign to be here because I'm only referencing this particular cell. I'm not going down in the table. So just this cell I'm making reference to. So this absolute referencing in this one is okay. I can also choose to type the word good if I feel that I may get confused with this absolute referencing, and type the word good in quotation marks, double quotations. Remember, Excel does not recognize text. It only does numbers. And if you put it in quotation marks, it knows it's a text. So, I've said if H2 is equals to good, okay? I click on format. I select the type of format I want it to have. Now say okay, then okay. So, if I click on apply, nothing happens. That's because if you look at your applies to um, dialog box, yeah, formula applies to what is in H2. But if you remember what I said I want the formula to be if what is in H2 in column H is good, highlight what is in column B. So that means I need to change what this applies to this column B. So I'm selecting all the names here and I say and then leave it like that. So once I'm done, I look at my formula. If it looks okay, I click on apply. And if you notice, your formula, that the formula you just put has vanished. This is because the condition that I'm looking at, since it's this particular cell I'm looking at, these are the conditions I have on this column H. If you see, look carefully. So I want to see, I would like to open up and see all the worksheet, all the conditions I have on this worksheet. So this is what I'm looking at here. And if you look at it again, the formula has changed from what it was H2 to B2. So it has shifted. So all you need to do is go open up the formula to edit it and just change this back to H2. Once you're done, click on OK. Then at this place, at this point, your formula looks good. Then click on apply. Then you see that the names that have good in this inference are highlighted. So these are just some of the things that you can do with your conditional formatting. I do hope that you'll be able to use this in your everyday work, and also build magnificent dashboards that tell stories to your presenters and to people who you're presenting to. So thank you so much for your time, everyone. I do hope that this video helped out in explaining conditional formatting. Thank you.